Hello, everyone, and welcome to the program Midday Discourse on Global Television. My name is Samuel Odi. Many thanks for joining us on today's edition. And still, we are still talking about food shortage, food crisis that has been ravaging over the country. And now, Mr. President had an approach of creating a Ministry of Livestock Development. We are still going to look at that, and then we are also going to look at the aspects of Mr. President's plan of importation of grains. We have states who are actually so key into production and then provisions of grains in the country who have been doing excellently well, but we're still going to x-ray the brain behind why Mr. President was taking those approaches. But before then, let me bring you up to speed on why Mr. President created this Ministry of Livestock. President Bola Tinubu has approved the creation of a new Ministry of Livestock Development. This came as he inaugurates the Renewed Hope Livestock Reform in Implementation Committee at the State House, Abuja. The committee is mandated to provide sector-focused solutions to address the age-long farmers' headers crisis. On September 14, 2023, the National Livestock Reform Committee recommended that Tinubu create a Ministry of Livestock Resources to, among other, diversify, reduce the decade-long war of conflict between farmers and nomadic cattle headers nationwide. Here are some basic rules and, questionable related to all of this. There are a lot of questions relating to all of this creation of new department, or would I say ministry at this point. Well, before we get deep into the conversation, I have my guest here who is a national founder or national coordinator for Women in Agricultural Development Initiative. She is a farmer to the core and goes to the grassroots. So on today's edition, we will be, extracting and then talking more about if this approach is actually nice for one, importation of grains and this new ministry that has been created. Mrs. Omolara Stevenson, thank you so much for joining us on today's edition. It's always great to have you here.
Thank you.
So now let's start off from the importation of grains. We have 5 major states in Nigeria who produce grains. And as a farmer, what's your reaction to this, that Mr. President wants to import grains?
Well, it's a mixed feeling. We've had issues of not being able to have produce sufficient grains for ourselves from days of Baba Obasanjo. There will be ban on import of grains, then they'll lift the ban back and forth and all of that. So if we look at the current situation that we find ourselves, I don't wish to be in his seat, the president. His hands are tight because then you look at it, I produce rice locally and people come on our on my company page and say, why should they pay more for Nigerian rice than for imported rice? Again, it brings us back to the orientation of our people. Why you pay more for Nigerian grown rice is first of all cost of input to grow our rice, and second of all, cost of production. How much is a liter of diesel now today in Kano? If you're lucky, you get for 2,000 naira. So when you calculate your overhead, you see that it's not much difference from our so-called imported rice. And if we are to dig deeper into it and say, okay, why should we? Another orientation problem we have is that I remember years ago, even up until recent, up until last year, I still got the question from people or comment from people saying they don't eat Nigerian rice, they only eat imported rice. And when our people themselves are not patronizing the grains that we are producing, then it gives the whole system, it becomes so complicated. So there are a whole lot of factors that had pushed the presidency or the president to this decision. One, we are not producing enough for us to consume. Secondly, the ones our consumers are not encouraging production locally, because I'm talking about rice now. Our people will rather eat rice that are not produced in Nigeria. But generally speaking, in terms of the lift that was the ban has been lifted on grains, rice, wheat, and what have you. I think it's one of the best way to cool things down temporarily. And That way you have more rice in the market. Hopefully the prices will crash, you know. And if the prices crash for a while, the next question should be, what are the steps that government is taking to make sure that this lifts they have lifted, the importation of commodities or grains into Nigeria, does not affect the production of grains, but the little we are producing already. Because in all of this, we still have people that are exporting grains. We don't have enough to eat, but we're still exporting grains, you know. So it's really, it is complicated. But to calm the situation, I mean, bag of rice went up to about 90,000 naira.
That's
so
the
foreign, there was not much difference between foreign. I mean, the last we sold our rice, Nigerian made rice, up for 83,000 naira per bag. You know, so if that would bring the prices down to something that is more affordable, why not? Let's do that for the time being. We almost do not produce any amount of wheat as it is, you know, so leave the ban on it. Let's bring in wheat. Let us eat first. While we have enough to eat, then we should not get carried away and sit back and stop fixing the problems that we have when it comes to production of grains.
Okay. You know, you rightly said that local rice was being sold for 82,000 just this past Sunday, a few weeks ago. Was it this hike now? Was it to the effect of the hike in fuel price? Okay,
so I'll break it down for you. For someone like me, our rice processing plant is in Kano. We used to move 600 bags of rice per trailer from Kano to Ibadan for 600,000, 700,000.
That was.
Yeah, but then this last...
that was from last year?
That was from last year, thank you. This last Salah, if you get a truck that we move for you for 2 million, you're lucky.
Wow.
So put that on 600 bags of rice. The same thing goes back to production. You have to run diesel to get your boiler on and all of that. You're processing your packaging. And sometimes the diesel went up to 2,200 in the black market. So these are the causes and the problems that is adding to the cost of locally produced rice in Nigeria. So if I was able to move my rice from Kano to Lagos for 600,000 naira, why would I have to sell it at 75,000 naira? So it's the entire situation of the country and the value chain that has put us where we are.
Looking at rice now, because a lot of persons have actually complained about the local rice and the foreign rice. What they usually say is that they prefer long grain rice than short grain, and then they say most of our local rice are just short grains. But why is that? Why don't we have long grain rice?
Okay, so knowledge is power. And last time I was there, I said it, I'm still saying it. The National Orientation Agency has a lot of work to do. Medically, health-wise, locally grown Nigerian rice is healthier than most of your so-called imported long grain rice. Another topic for another day. Yes, in the past, Nigerian rice, I wouldn't eat Nigerian rice some 15 years ago myself. But now we are developing, we are evolving. I mean, there are so many Nigerian brand rice that is shaft-free, stone-free, debt-free.
Gold?
Well, a lot of brands, even my own brand and all of that. So when people make these comments, I tell you what happened in one of my shops one day. So some people brought a particular rice, and I knew that we bagged that rice for them.
Yeah.
The lady came and said she wanted this particular rice. It was given as souvenir. And I said, well, that's good. That is my rice, actually. She said, oh, when they got it as souvenir, she thought it was imported. I said, no, it's not imported. It's grown in Nigeria, processed in Nigeria, packaged in Nigeria. So what our people do not know, there is a whole lot our people still need to learn, relearn, and unlearn when it comes to food production agriculture generally in Nigeria. So these are the issues. And when you look at another part of it is, if we have the right support, the farmers now, and the right training, nothing stops us from cultivating, there's a name for the long grain, basmati rice in Nigeria. I actually know a couple of farmers who have actually cultivated basmati at a fairly large quantity here in the north, and it was a success. You know, so it's all about being intentional. The government and the private sector needs to be very, very intentional about getting it right when it comes to food production in Nigeria.
Okay, looking at one now that wants to get into farming, because we'll have to look at those aspects as well. That's getting into farming of grains now. What are the basics that the person needs in terms of resources?
Well, it depends on the grains, on the grain that we're talking about. You know, if you want to go into cultivation of maize, which is like the easiest of all, you know.
Let me cut you short before you get deep into the answer. Let's go on a very quick break, and when we come back, Midday Discourse continues. Please do stay with us.
Time check. It's midday. Then it's Midday Discourse. Midday Discourse is a program that covers trending local and international news, current issues, and human-related topics. Join Samuel Odi weekdays 1 p.m. on Global Television. The discussion starts here.
Gonna shot it, squares it, into the back.
It's time for sports' biggest moments on Global Television. The headlines, scores, breaking news, and commentaries on sporty events. Talking with the biggest players, strikers, and about the slam dunks and goals, stunning saves, near misses, and upsets. Let's talk about the greatest home runs, comebacks, knockdowns, and victories. Talk sports with the king of sports, Anthony Momodu. Weekdays, 10 a.m. Don't miss out.
Oh, that goal! Beautiful work from the wingers.
Hello, children. Gather around, let me tell you a story. Do you know that stories have a way of captivating the minds of children, bringing fun and imagination to teach them morals? Join Sharon Ajay as she takes you to explore the thrilling and exciting world of storytelling.
I'll be sharing with you our next interesting story.
Tune in every Saturday on Global Television, time 5:30 p.m.
Is the desk on Global Television?
Nigeria. Come join Anthony Momodu on television's most compelling and facts-finding talk live show.
We are definitely. Can we not say that again? Because
that this country gets it right?
It's the Dex on Global Television, where we analyze and dissect storming issues and commentaries in the world's biggest black nation, Nigeria.
Who is being held accountable for this money?
The eyes have it.
We stay and decide policies and reforms on the Dex. Tune in Mondays to Fridays, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Global Television. Let's stay on the Dex.
Global Morning is your ultimate destination for engaging political and economic matters. I am Uyi Agmofwebe.
And don't forget to include social discussions. Tune in every weekdays from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. I am Queen Agaba.
For insightful breakfast ideas, business summaries, sports highlights, international and local news perspective, I am Anthony Momodu.
Don't miss the in-depth analysis of current and political issues by the Global Morning team and experts. I am Jumai Manson.
catch Global Morning here on Global Television. Getting on the action. I am Edikan Michael.
We are
the Global Morning team.
for an insightful idea that takes the center stage and the conversation that gets beyond the headlines. To explore the lasting impact of political decisions, Big Talk got you covered. From policy debates to geopolitical insights, from thought-provoking discussions to actionable insight.
What is the real responsibility of government?
Big Talk delves deep into the heart of the matter. Join us weekdays on global televisions from 6:30 p.m. for a reverting journey into the heart of politics, where we dissect issues shaping our society.
With every government and introduction of new policies, businesses of all kinds and sizes seize the opportunity to evolve and redefine themselves. Business Point on global television is where we follow the money.
Many thanks for staying with us, and sorry for that quick technical break. Yes, Omolara, before we went on that quick break, you were trying to, tell us what it's going to entail to start up, a grain farm.
Oh, well, so if we talk about corn and soya, I'm not so sure about wheat, but if we start with corn and soya, you basically need less than $500,000 naira to cultivate an acre of land when it comes to corn or soya. But it goes deeper than just having the money to cultivate. The most important thing is, especially when it comes to soya, I give a narrative when I talk to my students that cultivating corn and cultivating soya, it's like you keeping a dark-skinned lady like myself.
Yeah.
All you need is shea butter oil or shea butter itself, and our skin is all nice and glowing. But then when you have a light-skinned lady, especially one that is not 100% natural, then you need to be careful because you need to spend more, you need to pay more attention. That is how delicate or sensitive cultivating soya is comparing to corn, so you need to have the know-how.
Okay.
That's the point for both, especially for soya. I mean, you have cultivated cucumber.
Yes, I have.
I'm sure you do find cultivating corn, especially if it's not so much on a land scale. But soya is much more delicate. It needs much more expertise. But in terms of funding, once you have your land, you need less than actually 500,000 to cultivate an acre, not hectare, because I know in the north people are used to hectare. I mean acre, which is 6 plot, of land. So that's basically what it costs. But as much as it may sound like it's not that much, believe me, for a whole lot of farmers, it is a lot.
Okay, those aspects now has justice has been done to those angles now. Now let's talk about this livestock ministry that was just created yesterday. We have a Ministry of Agriculture, so is this the right approach to have another ministry that is almost like a Ministry of Agriculture?
Oh, well, Nigeria is a very, very blessed and interesting country. And it's a move in the right direction. But personally, I would have suggested a department under the Ministry of Agriculture as to having a whole ministry for livestock. What was the Ministry of Livestock?
Ministry of Livestock and Development.
Well, I would have suggested just a department of livestock and development, whatever you want to call it. Because livestock on its own, agric is vast.
Yeah.
Agriculture is very vast. Amongst our women, we have those that farms reptiles because they extract the venom for export purposes. That's how vast agriculture is. We have members that had visited their farms before, and I couldn't see it because they have also, that was one of my visits was when I discovered that there is practically no color on earth that you don't have in snakes. You know, and then they have snakes, they have scorpions, they have, name it, everything poisonous, you know, but they are doing that because they extract the venom for export. So the point is, livestock on its own is huge, is massive, but should it be a ministry on its own? Well, I would have suggested just a department under the Ministry of Agriculture. Is it a move in the right direction? Yes, definitely it's a move in the right direction, because why we are having the issue of, one of the major reasons we're having the issue of herdsmen
clash within farmers.
It's lack of right orientation. One of the places where we produce Gary in my farm, we have a mutual, I think I have the video on my Instagram page. We have a mutual understanding with the Fulanis around there.
Yeah.
We produce Gary 3 times a week.
Okay.
They come with their cows and they feed for free on our cassava
pills. Okay.
We have a borehole, local borehole there. They drink water for free. When we have harvested and we want to, like, you know, prep our land for the next, whatever it is we're cultivating again, and we need the cows to graze on the land, we call them and say, okay, now you can come graze on this land. So we need each other to start with. So all of these issues we are having, it's because the herdsmen and I would say more on the herdsmen, they lack the right orientation to understand that everything can be sorted out through dialogue. That is one. And secondly, which is important and which speaks to the members of our lawmakers in the House of Assembly, is this. For goodness sakes, this is 2024. You do not need to carry your cow to trek from northeast to southeast before your cow can be well fed and be ready for sales or what have you. Because years back when all these things started, I asked myself, wait, we go abroad. In the abroad, you don't see cows on the street, but they have the best steaks meat ever. You know, so you're forced to ask yourself that, what is it they are doing that we are not getting right? So if these herdsmen or cattle rearers, if they have the right training, the right orientation, and they know that the fodder, that's the name they call the food the cows eat, you know, doesn't necessarily have to be grass that they get on the field. It could be a mix of alfalfa, what's that leaf called, and the hay. You could mix that together, the dry one, buy it and feed your cows with it. You could buy, like we are buying from the north, some certain things to the south. You could buy cassava peel from the south as well, dried one, and feed your cows. You could have 2-3 hectares of land and make your cows, you know, if they really need to move around, do that on your 2-3 acres of land. You don't necessarily have to walk alongside your cows for 3 months to get to the south before you can actually rear your cattle in the right way. So hopefully this ministry is going to work on giving the cattle rearers or the herdsmen the right sort of orientation and training and knowledge that they need, so that they will know that moving from farm to farm is actually bringing more harm and conflict to us as a nation, as to them staying in their land and using the help of modern technology and sciences to grow their cattle.
Do you think that with this new ministry now, we will be seeing less of cattle in the capital territory?
Oh, well, then whoever the minister is should be sacked. That's what this is all about. This ministry, I believe, is about one of the major reasons why it's being created is not only to reduce the presence of our cattle on our streets and on our farms, is also to build the ministry, to build the markets in the livestock industry. I mean, I won't do free adverts for anyone, but there is a particular company that produces milk, and I tell you for free, I see their cattle in Okyogun area or for your states, where they breed them, they feed them, and they send their truck from time to time to extract the milk to their factory where they produce it. That is just one aspect of commerce in livestock rearing. The skin on your sheep, there is huge market for it. I mean, I could go on and on. So when it comes to generating income for the country, when it comes to the commerce that is in livestock rearing is huge.
For an insightful idea that takes the center stage and the conversation that gets beyond the headlines, to explore the lasting impact of political decisions, Big Talk got you covered. From policy debates to geopolitical insights, from thought-provoking discussions to actionable insight.
What is the real responsibility of government?
Big Talk delves deep into the heart of the matter. Join us weekdays on global televisions from 6:30 p.m. for a reverting journey into the heart of politics, where we dissect issues shaping our society.
With every government and introduction of new policies, businesses of all kinds and sizes seize the opportunity to evolve and redefine themselves. Business Point on global television is where we follow the money and put the facts and figures right in front of you. Watch Business Point every Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. as Kikelamo Okeri tracks all the latest developments across critical sectors. Business Point, this is business.
Are you ready to be entertained like never before? Get ready to dive into the latest and greatest entertainment news in lifestyle, music, movies, birthday celebration, and so much more, all on Entertainment Circle on global television. From the hottest red carpet event to exclusive interviews with your favorite stars, we've got you covered. Stay up to date with the latest trends and news from the entertainment world, all in one place. Tune in every Saturday by 1 p.m. with Chong Annabelle Joseph on global television.
In an ever-busy world, the increasing challenge of keeping track of health matters can be extremely demanding. Follow the latest health tips and trends on Health Guide on Global Television on Tuesday at 3 p.m. Health Guide on Global Television. Put your health first. Get ready for it. Inside Today brings you issues relating to family, peer pressure, drugs, substance abuse, societal and topical issues making rounds. Join Jomaine Manson on Global Television Monday to Thursday and it repeats every Friday. Time 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Don't miss out.
Are you a food lover? Do you care about your health and nutrition? Are you interested in exploring the diverse culinary traditions from around the world? Then look no further. Introducing Lunch Global on Global Television, a show that takes you on a delicious journey through the world of food, nutrition, and diet. So, whether you're a seasoned foodie, a health enthusiast, or simply curious about the world of food, Lunch Global has something for everyone. Tune in Mondays to Fridays and let your taste bud take you on a journey of flavor, culture, and discovery on Lunch Global. Bon appetit!
Time check. It's midday. Then it's Midday Discourse. Midday Discourse is a program that covers trending local and international news, current issues, and human-related topics. Join Samuel Odi weekdays 1 p.m. on Global Television. The discussion starts here.
Get a shot in, squares it into the back.
It's time for sports' biggest moments.
Yes, many thanks for staying with us, and sorry for that impromptu break. It was not planned for, but what can we say? Yes, we're still having the conversation of food because food is really, really important for human growth, and also it's very important to Nigerian economy. So we're just looking at how, this new ministry now is going to help impact and help Nigerian GDP grow despite the rise and fall we've been having. And Omolara has been doing amazingly well with the insight. So I was about to ask, what approach do you think, or what policies do you think the new committee, which is being headed by Mr. President and assisted by Tayo Rujega, what policies do you think, what approach do you think they need to take in order to, see to the productivity and growth of this new ministry?
I'll be looking at them prioritizing training, orientation. Because both the farmers, the herdsmen, the cattle rearers, we all need to be trained. Training to what agriculture of knowledgeable information to bring them up to date. Once that is one of the policies that they carry out. See, if we sit here, like I say, or they sit in front of cameras and they speak big English, and all of this, there is still no training whatsoever, the right orientation, the right knowledge for the cattle rearers, for those that are in livestock rearing, it is a complete waste of time. We're still going to find ourselves where we are. Another thing that they need to do, I believe that which they should be working on, is to also teach. You see, it keeps coming down to training, to orientation. On how to see cattle, livestock farming, how to maximize the agribusiness in it.
Yeah.
So it's not just that, oh, I'm keeping this ram for when Ileya is around the corner, Salah.
Yeah.
It's not just about I'm keeping this cow for big Salah or for Christmas. There is a whole lot of trading business in livestock rearing. You know, and when I say livestock rearing, I mean we're putting emphasis on cattle. There is a whole lot in it. There is a whole lot in the livestock farming.
Yeah. Okay. Let's leave livestock rearing and farming for now. Development. Let's just watch and see what Mr. President and his committee do from now till maybe the coming weeks. Let's go back to importation now. How does this affect local farmers, you know, and their productivity, given the fact that, you know, the federal government wants to, you know, import grains?
Well, like I said, I really, on this topic, I do not envy Mr. President because it is a complicated one. It's not good for someone like myself that produces grains locally. And I'll tell you why.
Business-wise now.
Business-wise now, right? But then when you look at it on the general approach, there is not enough grains for us in the country to consume. But at the same time, we are still exporting grains. So then you ask yourself, something is not adding up here. So I would have preferred a situation whereby Mr. President worked on what we have
and improve
on it, and then stop exportation of food of grains for a while. Like they've put a ban on exporting corn now since the past administration.
Yes.
So maybe you could have done something like that with wheat, with soya, with rice. Because a lot of people don't even know. Most of the neighboring African countries consumes Nigerian rice. So I would have first of all put an embargo on anything called export of grains out of Nigeria. Say we do that for a month or two. See what the result of that would be before lifting the ban. Or what the tax or what have you on the import of grains into Nigeria. Because the backside of that is this. That farmer or that processor that had produced, say, 10 trailers of rice, paying 2,200 for diesel, paid another 2 million to move the rice to Lagos. Now you lift this ban and all sorts of products, ones that share in Europe, Asia, whatever, and now because of my people not having the right, people look at not the quality. So that processor locally is running now at loss. So you see that it's a very complicated issue. But I would have expected that the Mr. President's team had worked diligently to close all our borders where Nigerian grains are still being taken out of Nigeria, and then see if there is opening our borders to all sorts. Because the truth be told, nobody is actually controlling what comes in and what doesn't come in when it comes to this matter.
Okay, what about, let's look at, quality, safety, and standards for importation of this this products now that we tend to, consume and feel is the best product than our own local, food that is being produced. Let's talk about the quality of this products now that are being imported into the country?
I'll answer that question. That's a tricky one this way. If you can, please, for the good of your own health, for the growth of Nigeria's economy, continue eating Nigerian products. That is all I'm going to say in that, about that. Because the rice we produce in Nigeria, you know, I mean, I can't call names, are still healthier than most of this rice that have been imported into Nigeria that you buy cheaper rates. The beans we produce in Nigeria, our soya, our corn, you know, you still have a high level of traceability to what it is that you're consuming compared to what is being imported. I call it a slavery mentality that is still affecting all of us. So the fact that it's being packed in a fancy bag and it says made in the US or whatnot, what have you, does not automatically mean, in most cases, that product is healthier for you and your family compared to the locally made product. And even if you don't want to think of your own health, think of Nigeria's economy. You know, each time you buy anything imported, you're degrading the naira. And we are all about, let us all come together to improve the naira. Think of that, someone like me who's cultivated rice, who's processed their rice with liter of diesel at 2,000 naira and buy Nigerian made rice. A lot of Nigerian made rice out there in the market that you can't even tell that it is not Cotonou. That's like the name for the imported ones.
Yeah. Chairman of the committee, Tayo Jega.
Well, Mr. Jega has a very good record when he was, I think, you know, and he comes across to be a man that is diligent and is well read. So I expect for him to come up with some very progressive policies and approach. So fingers crossed, we'll get to know in the next couple of weeks. And it's a move in the right direction, but I would have preferred that is a department under the Ministry of Agri. But then we see how that goes. That is that for that. And in terms of the lift, the taxes that is being lifted, in terms of the border being open to all sort of food, I said it earlier, eat Nigeria, patronize Nigeria, grow Naira, for health reasons, for Nigeria reason, and what have you. And generally, if you see, I travel a lot within Nigeria, and each time I am on the road, every single time I am on the road, I am heartbroken. Nigeria can conveniently feed the world. So, and that's, we not being able to feed ourselves, every single one of us should walk on the street with our heads down. It is a shameful, shameful thing. Grow what you eat. If you cannot grow what you eat, support someone who can grow what you eat. There are so many ways every single one of us can be involved in the agricultural value chain. It's not only by hoes and cutlasses, you know, and if we are all intentional about making sure that we have food sufficiency and enough for export, we will be able to get out of this mess we find ourselves in no time. But if we just sit back, you know, we always sit down, it's not my problem, it's government's problem, then we may be buying a tuber of yam for 10,000 naira before December.
And we hope that doesn't happen by yam for 10,000 naira. So on that note, that's how much time will permit us to take on today's edition of Midday Discourse. Omolara Sivitsin, the National Coordinator for Women in Agri and Progressive Development. Thank you so much for joining us. And we see the amazing work your people are doing in Imo State, Adamawa, yes, and every other part, trying to curb hunger. Trying to curb hunger out of Nigeria, one family at a time. So that's how much time will permit us to take on today's edition of the program. You have a fabulous day ahead. Good afternoon. My name is Samuel Lodi. I'll see you tomorrow.